Okay, this is going to be a quick sneak peek and what's happening in the near future video. This is a $300 Honda 15 horse engine I picked up from auction last week. I bought it a week ago today. There's some issues with it, but it is a completely rebuilt engine. I have boroscoped it. It appears this engine has never been fired since it's rebuilt. It did come with a bag of parts, rings, carburetors, or carburetor parts, I should say. But it appears this engine was apart and has never been fired since the rebuild. If you look there, this engine is very clean. There's obviously a new sump gasket, and it's just overall too clean to have ever ran. The spark plug that came out of it has never been fired. So the issue with this is lack of compression. I was able to adjust the valves and get compression, but the electric start would not turn it over. So that's potentially a starter issue, but I do have to readjust the valves yet again. But this is going to be put on the back burner for a little bit. I have a few projects that are nearing completion that need to get done a little bit before this one here. I don't need this engine until the summer, so I'd like to get it running, but it can be put on the back burner for right now. The ones that need to get done, this is the Cub Cadet Turbo Diesel. There's only a few things left that need to be done on this. The seat needs to be mounted, the cup holder needs to be put back in place, and the cover that goes around the mower raise and lower also needs to be put back in place, and the tail lights need to be finished up. Then this is done. This is ready to go to auction. Air filter's done, all the wiring on the hood is done, the ignition wiring is done. This machine is nearing completion. And yes, it looks like a snowbank at the moment, but it's a running snowbank. I did start it the other day. It didn't really want to stay running, but it did technically run. If I was able to flick the switch for the grid heater, it definitely would have stayed running. So this has to get done. I have 4 weeks today to get all of these projects done that are going to auction. So the Cub Cadet Turbo Diesel, the Kubota 4-wheel steer, the Ford tractor, which is also a snowbank at the moment, and the King Canada diesel generator. The only two that really need the most amount of attention are the Cub Cadet Turbo Diesel and the King Canada diesel generator, which I'll show in a second. The Kubota went into storage running. It's at Super Secret Storage location. I have the deck for it here. I should have all the pins for the deck on the machine. If not, I'll have to go out and get some, which won't be too big of a deal. The plan is to put the deck on the Kubota. So I have limited trailer space, but I have enough room to put this machine, the King Canada diesel generator, and the Ford without the deck at the front of the trailer, then the Kubota at the back. The trailer is 22 feet long by, I think it's 7 feet wide offhand. So unfortunately, the Ford deck won't be able to be in place for loading, but it's the easiest deck to put back on. It's only 3 clips, the belt. It's a very easy deck to put back into place when we do get to auction. So the Kubota is not the easiest to do. So the King Canada diesel generator, all that's left to do on this is the push button start. I do need to adjust the governor slightly on this to increase the idle whenever it first starts up, and the rear panel needs to be done. The wiring and increasing the idle should only take about 20 minutes, half an hour. The rear cover won't take long to make, but it's going to take a little bit of time to paint since we're still dealing with between -5 and -12 weather. It will take a bit for the paint to cure. I'll bring the steel in the house, let it warm up. Once it's all cut and drilled, I'll bring it out here, paint it, let it sit in the garage with the kerosene heater on. It'll be okay. It'll be good enough for what this is going for. It does have the battery in place. I do need to do a slight modification to the battery hold down. that shouldn't take too long either. I need to take a tap and basically increase the length of the threads on the 2 bolts that hold the battery in place. So this here, like I said, won't take much to get it functional, or completely functional, I should say. There's some wiring in the back that does need to be taken care of as well. The original control box is still getting power. I do want that disconnected. As long as it doesn't affect the ignition switch, that will be disconnected. But I think it's a completely separate circuit. Then the original shutdown cable, that needs to be tied down. And I would like to pressure wash this and the other machines if the snow is gone in time. It won't take me long to get a pressure washer up and running. Probably only about a half hour, not even. But with the way the snow is, I'll have to wait and see. So I'd like to, but if I can't, I can't. Back to the workbench, another project I would like to get started on is the John Deere Kawasaki. I have the gasket for it right here and the O-rings for the oil filter adapter. Yes, Kawasaki has to do stuff a little bit differently. Instead of using an actual gasket, they gave you 2 O-rings that go in place. Even the parts store said, yeah, Kawasaki is a little bit different and a little bit backwards compared to what other manufacturers would have done. I'm still waiting on the sump, but it was delayed coming out of Stony Creek, Ontario because of all this white snow. It was supposed to be here last week on Friday, but we had a fairly major snowstorm Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and it has been delayed for almost a week now. Hoping it should be here today or tomorrow. It says today, but we had another snowstorm down Toronto way, and it wasn't a good one. So yeah, it does say out for delivery, but it has already said out for delivery and it was delayed. So that's pretty much what we're at the moment for everything that I'm currently working on. Main stuff is getting stuff ready for auction. That's my top priority because that is a date that cannot be missed. I do have to have everything ready to go. This here is a side project that's not overly important at the moment. And the John Deere Kawasaki is yet another side project. But if I have the parts and I have time to work on it, I am going to work on it before I work on, this engine here. So that's just where my priorities are at the moment. I got to get the battery disconnected on this. And it does crank over, but it's still having issues. So this is an ongoing project, but it definitely does have potential. Nice thing is also with this King Canada diesel generator, I don't need to buy any more parts for it. I have a battery in it. I have a 240 CCA sealed gel battery for a wheelchair. That actually works perfectly fine and actually fits in this. Unlike the other generator I had that was similar to this, I could not get a lawn tractor battery in it, unfortunately. It either took its factory battery or it took the battery I ended up putting in it, which was similar to a 4-wheeler battery. So that's pretty much everything I've been working on. I've been busy doing snow removal. Pretty much everything I've made doing snow removal has paid for this engine here and then some. This engine was $300 from auction. That's why its videos are my $300 auction mistake sort of thing. So I don't know if this engine was a mistake or if it was a win. But since I've made enough money doing snow removal with profits, this engine is pretty much a win at the moment, even if this engine is a complete fail. I did have some items in auction last week as well. I have not yet been paid for that. Probably next week or the week after I will be paid. But I made out fairly decent at the auction selling generators. Not as much as I wanted to get back, but I made out decent enough. So anyways, that's pretty much it for this quick update. Yes, we're dealing with a lot of snow, but it's warmer days are ahead, so hopefully the snow will start melting. I want to get the deck for the Kubota brought down the hill. It's currently up in that tent shed up there. I'd like to get it here. So I don't like driving on the grass whenever the snow melts for obvious reasons. So if I can get the Kubota, park it somewhere in this area right here, bring the deck home, or sorry, bring the machine home, put the deck in place right in this area here. I'm good to go. So that's what we're at, and that's what we're doing, and that's pretty much the update for right now. So I'll talk to them later. Please keep it redneck like always, and please subscribe and comment.